You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis. Is your confidence a cover-up that's pushing him away? Hey, welcome to Life Check Yourself. We have a lot of new listeners thanks to social media. So you might be wondering, who is this handsome man if you're watching on YouTube? And if you're listening, you might want to watch on YouTube to see this handsome man who's my guest today. It is my lifelong, I feel like you're my lifelong friend. You're my adult long life friend. I've known you since 2008. Is that right?
No, before that, babe. I'm thinking around I did my thing in 2006. So yeah, that's when I did Hoffman.
I thought I did it in 2006.
I did it.
I don't know. Whatever. We've known each other a long ass time.
Long time.
Chris has been part of the work that I do for the entire time. He sat on too many. I don't think you've ever missed one man panel.
They're so fun.
And now he has his own gig, contestants.com. So if you know any men that need some coaching or style, make sure you check out contestantchris.com. And he is here almost every single week, binge watching wherever he is to make sure that we can bring you the latest and the greatest. And so I said, you have to watch because the finale of Love is Blind is soon, imminent. And so we wanted to watch the last 3 episodes that got dumped online.
I couldn't let you bring it in without me. I had to be there. We've gone through this journey and I need to be sitting, we need to be riding shotgun together. So I'm glad.
What's really funny is that Dr. Emily and Reality Raina, both of their boos were out of town last Friday and the episodes dropped and we were in a chat and I was like, are you guys going to watch or are you going to wait? And they were like, fine, we'll wait. So it was cute, but anyway, oh my gosh, so much happened. But the first thing that I just have to talk about because it was a train wreck from the beginning, but I just really want to talk about Jackie and Marshall. So first of all, the fact that little Marshy Marsh goes to the tuxedo store after they have this weird conversation and gets a phone call, like his lady isn't at the wedding dress, gathering.
Right.
Yeah. The fitting. And then he leaves. And what I wanted to ask you though, was this. So they go to a party. I can't remember the exact chronological.
Chelsea's party. Yeah. Chelsea's birthday party.
They go to Chelsea's birthday party. And then she's weird. And then they get in a little argument and then they go home and it's like midnight or whatever. And he's like, I need to know what you need from me.
Yeah. And
she's like, well, first of all, she talks like a dude.
Yeah.
She's like, bro, yo, man. But I do feel like she was trying to say I'm tired and I'm not like being my best self. And, can we please talk about this tomorrow? And he wouldn't let it go. And I just think this is a really interesting conversation because I think there's one school of thought that says you should never go to sleep mad.
Yeah.
And there's another school of thought that's like, you should totally go to sleep mad because when you're tired and exhausted, you're just not having the best conversation. So who do you think was in the wrong or the right in that situation? Like, was Marshall being like too aggro, like forcing her to have the conversation, or was she just like not dealing with it?
I think both. And I'm really glad you brought this up because this is such an awesome relationship takeaway is the how to handle the timeline on the conversation. What's going on is there's one, she was talking to another guy for the people who didn't see it. She's talking to another dude who she almost was considering marrying. And she's also been, negging him and telling me he wasn't man enough. So a lot of insecurities, just chipping away, telling him these things, but not telling him what to do exactly. Remember, men, we need clear, actionable instructions to become
right.
Want. No, just, hey, just do this and be more like this. Because what the fuck does that mean? In your head, we don't know. We're not inside there. And we all, most of the time we do think we are being manly and all that, whatever, being good. But what I'm glad you brought this up, because this happens to all of us. And like you mentioned, it's tough sometimes when you're Jack and you're exhausted and and maybe just fucking having these conversations are tough. These are emotional, and especially for her, she showed it. This is not a wheelhouse. She's comfortable in vulnerability and being honest and really having these deep conversations. At midnight, you had a lot to drink, blah, blah, blah. Especially when you guys have a lot of drink, that's when stuff can go awry. But of course, he is astute and he was feeling insecure. So what I did not love, and I think this is why their relationship and her relationships will be doomed, is she just shut him down and said, you know what, this isn't good, comfortable for me, without figuring out, acknowledging, well, what does he need right now? And I think she could have 100% gotten her sleep and waiting to get to the crux of the conversation. Had she let him know a duration, a path, and an outcome, meaning, honey, I want to talk to you. I want to talk with about this with you. And the next morning, they both have to go to work. When I get off of work at 6:30 and go into the details of what it is. So that way he can be like, okay, we're going to have an in-length discussion of what we're going to say. And then also, if he can let her know, like how it's going to be, we're going to be sitting around whatever the path they're going to do it. And then the outcome. And that's what he was worried about. He was scared shitless that the outcome was going to be, I don't like you and I'm leaving you, which she ended up doing. You can't go to sleep on that, Marn. That's too much. Don't leave your man hanging. It's manipulative, right?
I think it's too much. I think I agree with you. I think part of he was like, well, she was like, can we talk about it in the morning? He's like, I'm getting up early and I have to go drive to Redmond. I'm going to be out of town, like whatever. And I get that. And I do have to say that I was proud of her, because she goes up and instead of shutting down completely, she goes behind him and she kind of gives him a hug and she tries to tell him you're enough. I think the thing that happens is that he doesn't believe it. I believe that he is trying. So I think he's trying to protect himself because he knows the hammer's coming and he sort of just wants her to tell him the truth now. But she's not going to have that conversation. I don't even think she's really clear on that. And so I wish that he would have just been able to compromise and said, okay, what I do need to know right now is that you're willing to have a conversation with us tomorrow at 7:00. And then we can go to bed and we can agree. But I don't think it was the best time to have the conversation.
So do you think she had already decided that they were going to break up and she just didn't want to?
No, I don't think she really knew. I mean, I don't think she had the courage I think she knew it intuitively, but she didn't have the courage yet to say it and the clarity to say it. Because when she's at that party and she's talking to that other guy and she's basically saying, Josh, that, I told Marshall whatever, and he's been crying about it ever since for 3 days. That's not your person. What I don't like about Jackie is that she's a shady bitch though.
There we go. Thank you. Say it.
Going behind his back. Totally, the one thing I do have to say though about Jackie. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, they break up and then the camera goes to Jackie and the producer must say so are you going to be with Josh now? And she goes, I could be with Josh. I don't know if I could be with Josh. I mean, honestly, maybe I should just be with myself. I should just work on myself. And you're like, ding, ding, ding. Finally, right therapy. Answer.
I'm crazy. She goes, I think I'm just crazy. I need therapy. I love that too. She knows what she needs, but she doesn't do it. That's, what? And
it's going to be interesting to see the reunion because she's going to get roasted.
Remember what Marshall, he said that she was, he slept up, another Freudian slip, and said he's a project or something similar to that, right? And she is. There you go. She just said it.
She is a project and he should have never picked her in the first place. And her and Josh just want to bang and they will. Yeah. And that'll be that.
God.
And then, so sorry. Okay. Also, don't just never call your guy bro or dude, which is really funny because every once in a while I will be emphatic with Jeremy and I'll be like, bro, and he'll be like, don't do that. And then when he calls me that, I'm like, what? Or he calls me mate. I'm like, do not call me mate. Like, I don't know what. Do you ever do that with Doc? Do you ever accidentally say
when
bro?
I'm pissed off, I'm like, I'm knocking on this door. I'm like, honey, babe, sweetie, fuck it, dude, bro. Let me keep flipping this Rubik's Cube over till finally let the key to let me in. That is funny. The German.
Yeah, but generally not a good idea. Okay, I want to talk about Chelsea and Kwame.
Oh, so much good stuff there.
They're very pretty together. I have to say that photo shoot, I was like,
beautiful.
damn, they are like a beautiful couple. And he is beautiful. He is
Babies
really
gorgeous. Yeah, they
gorgeous.
That photo shoot, I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that is good. That is a creepy kind of weird thing to do, but also, yeah, they look sexy.
They looked really sexy. So early on in the Chelsea Kwame relationship, you were sort of like, Chelsea's confident. She kind of is very much takes a leadership role. She kind of like helps Kwame believe in who he is and see the possibility and see the future. And, you know, she's definitely like always like the pace setter in the relationship.
Yes.
And I think we have seen him like over the last like few episodes, just sort of be like, what am I giving up? What kind of life am I going to have? Do I really want to move here?
Yeah.
Do I really want this life with the dog? And now they throw in that his mom thinks he's a virgin.
Yeah.
And that she is not a fan. And so I wonder if now Chelsea's in denial, or is she just anchoring Kwame to the present rather than his future and his fears? What do you think? Do you think she's just like batshit in denial? Because on the photo shoot, she's asking him these questions and he's like,
yes,
I don't know. Okay. And you could just see her face just like,
I'm going to answer that with a cartoon reference. Do you remember Pepe Le Pew?
Yeah.
What did Pepe Le Pew do? And what would you say his, what did he do? What didn't he do? What was he missing out on with that?
I don't remember.
He didn't read the room. And he was relentless, and he was so positive, and he wouldn't let anybody get in his way. No matter what, he would run through a brick wall trying to get, I think he was a skunk, and he was after this black cat, and the black cat was like, oh no, you're not my guy. And just, I love you. And Emily has some interesting theories we could chat about later on her, but she is so tirelessly relentless that, and we've talked about this when we do your man panel. So if you gals listening have a chance to do a man panel or do one of Marni's things, do it. One of the things we talk about is how even when you are totally into a dude, you can't fucking chase him so that he feels like he's getting caught and cornered and all the time. He's getting Pepe Le Pew'd by her. And in the walls, she wasn't able to run through. Luckily, she couldn't run through that. She didn't run through the pod wall. And so she, oh my God, even the way he proposed, you remember, he goes, I was wondering if you would say, very gentle, right? He's a very gentle guy. If you would, consider marrying me. And that's his giving a lot of room for wiggle room. And she goes, yes, 1,000 times yes, which I guess is Pride and Prejudice or something. So even then you see the disparity. And babe, she's just exhausting. And I don't know if there's any, Dr. Emily was like, is there any guy, go through your Rolodex of mental dudes, Chris, who could handle that? And I could not think of somebody who could be nose to nose. Just, you can't both smack and kiss. You're going to break each other's teeth.
I think she's doing it to compensate. I think she's like doing it to sell. You know what I mean? Like, and she's also like, I'm so hot. I'm so sexy. Like you're so lucky. I'm so and she is, right? But it's almost like she's really overselling herself. So I wonder if she was with somebody who could meet her energy, like a Marshall, like someone who's like equally into the person. Like, would she still be that way? I don't know, but I just think that and I think women do this all the time. Our friend Matt Boggs calls it the silent movie. And if you just like watch Kwame without the sound and you just look at his face, right? Dude. He's like, and I even had a moment during that sexy photo shoot when they were kind of having a deep convo.
Yeah.
And he leans over and he kisses her. And I said to Jeremy, this guy is just in his head going like, I'm going to like obliterate this chick. I feel so bad. I'm just letting her think it's going to be okay. But then I was like, this could be really good editing. Maybe they want me to feel that way so that I'm shocked when he says yes.
100%. Editing is amazing. It reminds me of, and I felt like Kwame, my ex who you knew, she said some of the same things that Chelsea says, meaning that I've already planned my boudoir photo shoot since I was 7 years old.
Yeah, that's,
you just feel like a freaking placeholder and you just get, oh, there it is. Stick them in there, plug them in there. And I think Kwame is so incredibly careful. He's a skills sales director about reading people, taking the temperature and not just throwing boiling hot Chelsea water because that's where she's going all the time. And it's off-putting and it's scary and it's hurt. So I don't know of a guy who can match that emotional intensity. And also, like I said, if you're both running at each other, dude, it's either you're gonna pass each other or it's just too much.
I think there's some also real issues, right? Like, I think like they never have really dealt with the moving thing. I think he said to her mom, like, we never even ate dinner together. And now I'm like going to be thrust into this like massive family. So like, do they have the same family values? Yet on the other hand, his mom isn't supportive, so he does have a connection. The one thing though that I have to say that I love Kwame's sister and brother.
Yeah.
I love that even though the mom is not a fan, we learned that the dad totally supports. The sister is adorable. When the sister comes to Chelsea's bridal suite and they like hug it out, I started to see possibility. And I was like, wow, maybe they are going to go through with it. Maybe what the sister and brother are telling Kwame, like mom's going to deal with it and it's going to be okay. You got to do you, that he will say yes. But it's definitely juicy because I have no idea. I mean, 1 minute I'm like, there's no way. And then I'm like, yes. But even if they do get together, I'm not sure these issues that they haven't really dealt with are issues that, can just be handled. Like, I think they're serious issues, and love is, I don't know if it's blind, but it's not enough. You have to actually deal with logistics.
What I love about the Chelsea character is she's a lot of, or a decent handful, a portion of the gals that I've seen who come to coaching with you, meaning very smart, very driven, successful. They know what they want. They're relentless. They're intelligent. They're beautiful. They're all these things. They come together, and yet somehow, they don't have their one. And my kind of takeaway for the gals out there who say, I can be a little Chelsea or whatever, is I think Kwame is fantastic. Dr. Emily disagrees with me. She still hasn't forgiven the attraction that Kwame had with Micah, right? So she still thinks he's being a dog. I think that it was a respite for him to be allowed to chase her a little, meaning that he wasn't being cornered by Micah. Instead, it was a little bit more toying, what you talk about in your dating. It was more cat and playful and this and that. Chelsea doesn't leave any questioning. She is there. She's already flayed herself up and put onions in her mouth and put herself on the spit. So that's no hunting.
Oh my God.
Really
I don't think that Kwame is interested in Micah, and I don't think Micah's interested in Kwame. So I forgive Kwame. I just think Kwame needs to have some balls and be like, dude, I don't want to move to Seattle. Like, he's like talking shit about Seattle, saying Portland's better. I'm not ready to like have a dog, let alone like kids. I want to travel. I want to sleep on my couch and play Xbox. I thought I was ready, but I'm not. I wish he would just be more honest, but we could ultimately be super surprised. Okay, now I want to go ahead.
Real quick. I think
go ahead.
I think if you are a gal, it is so decisive. And I put this in our little show notes, and you just know it. Take a look over at the dude right next to you. If you just see green lights and you see him slowing down over a speed bump or a yield, just checking the other way, ask him. Just slow down and say, maybe I don't need to hit this at 80 miles an hour, because he's feeling a speed bump. And that's scary when you're going that fast over a speed bump. Ask him, pull over if you need to and figure out. And that's what she doesn't do. Again,
exactly. You're right. You're right.
and
She doesn't check in.
She doesn't check in, babe. She blows right through everything's his. Oh, so you're not gonna have any friends. You're gonna give up your life, your jobs. And it'll work out.
She checks in, but she doesn't consider what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like he said like 5 times, like, I'm upset about these 4 things. And she's just sort of like, oh, okay. Well, anyway, like, we're the best. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it. We'll get through it. It's going to be amazing. And then he's like, no, it's like, you don't believe it. You just don't believe it. Okay. Let's talk about, I want to talk about Micah and Paul briefly, because I don't think there's that much to talk about Micah and Paul, except I think Paul is like so smitten with Micah.
He's completely blind. I think he's going to watch this back and he's like, oh my God, I'm a rube. She's out flirting. And he's just, what I told Dr. Emily is that he is, Stanford buying it, IQ much higher, but her EQ is, whoa, she's genius. She's he's Pinocchio.
She's good. But one thing that I think is really different is when she's talking about like, would you move to Scottsdale or would you do this? Or can we get another apartment? He's like, I could be convinced. I could think about that. I could, so that's very different than Chelsea and Kwame, where Chelsea's like, you're moving to Seattle. You obviously you have to, because this situation and that situation. So I think they're having a little bit more of like the actual like real life conversation of like, I could be convinced, like I would need to know more about it. Maybe I would come visit you, but I wouldn't want to relocate. I mean, I think they're kind of having the conversations. But my favorite part of these 3 episodes is drunk Micah.
Hammered.
Hammered. She's like,
Lauren's tripping over words.
She like FaceTimes Paul. But in the last set of episodes, we have the crazy negative friend situation. And they kind of show you that Micah is like actually considering what the crazy friend would say, like, oh, but drunk Micah, which says a lot, is sort of like, bitch, don't talk shit about my man. If you're going to come to my wedding, I need you to support me. And this is not a conversation we're having anymore. And
love it.
I loved that. And I think the fact that she did it just wasted just shows that she does have that strength. I don't know why she hangs out with weird people questionable people like Arena and this girl, her friend. But what I will say is I like the way she's growing and the way she's saying, like, I'm confident in my decision. And I think that for ladies who are listening, remember there might be outliers or inliers who don't support the person that you're with. Ultimately, you have to get to a place where you're doing this for you and you have to be able to trust yourself. And ultimately that friend is an outlier because all the other people in her life are like, I like Paul, he's good. I could see you together. I support you. And I think that shows a lot of strength on her part. And so Micah to me is like, biggest turnaround. I went from like, you are not emotionally available or intelligent to possibly being ready for Paul.
So growth. So like most improved fiance, does seem to go to Micah. I loved how, like you mentioned, I'm not quite sure why she does that. I think she's very insecure. Every time she calls him, she's like, do you love me? Tell me how much I love. And then he's like, oh, he hung up on me.
That's kind of weird.
But then she's like, oh, he just called back 4 times. Thank God. So he knows to play that silly little dance well. And I do. And I also, you've spoken about this before, is take a look at the people who are giving you the advice. And if it's a bunch of, spray tanned orange, silly gals who are forever single and angry, then, you could keep a tally of it. But let's take a group tally and see if that's the outlier for you.
Yeah, because remember when you find your person, the people that were your wing girls, the people that wanted to be partnered up with you in your sad story, they're out of a job. And so you got to really take that into consideration. Okay. I want to talk about Bliss and Zach.
Yeah.
Because literally Zach's dad, or it was Bliss's dad,
Whoa.
was not a fan. What I was hoping, and we didn't really see the interior of Zach, but you know, the mom loves Zach. Like, there's a lot of
Sisters.
love for Zach, the sisters. And Zach was really worried about, you know, what Bliss's family would think. I really hope that it was so obvious how negative he was and how unsupportive. And I loved that Bliss was also a strong, powerful woman. And she was like, dad. And she had her man's back. And I think that, again, shows that confidence.
And it shows the growth, Marni. And it shows that she's has learned. We talk about this all the time. We may have had some traumatic parental backgrounds or trauma. I can tell that she's dealt with it and she's learned how to be successful despite this constant shitstorm of negativity and the way he interrupts all the time. And he's constantly pessimistic, and that she has, it's not going to be, you can tell that very little, it's not going to be a giant, I don't know what to do. My dad is, she's, hey, I got this for my dad. Yeah, that's the way he is. And I love that.
Yeah. And I think that was just really a great show of like having your partner's back. And I think Zach did really well. Like, he tried so hard to find common ground, and the guy was just like not having it.
Yeah. Did you love how Bliss's little stepsister has her little glasses to block out all the haters?
Oh yeah, that was like so savvy. I was like, what is going on with these people?
It's too negative, man. She can't stand the daddy. There's reflectors, baby.
It was so bad. So, I mean, I feel like Bliss is like really confident in this, and I don't know. I think that they could get to the altar and say yes. Like, what do you think?
Dude, I'm bullish on Bliss. I think she's amazing. I can't figure out why she was single. I can't figure out why, you know, a bunch of Brett's single. I can't figure out why Marshall's single. I don't know. She seems so rad and beautiful and smart and strong and quirky, but I like, you know, board game nerdy, book reading.
And she bakes.
And she bakes, and she's beautiful. Oh my goodness.
She's so pretty. So pretty.
She's just so grounded, and and she gets over all of his little weird picadillos and quirkinesses, and his intense stare, his 1,000-yard stare. And he doesn't blink when he's like focused through on one.
Like,
she seems, it seems like he'd be crazy if he says no. And I think they could. I really hope they go all the way.
I do too. I think that they've come really far. I mean, they haven't been together as long as everyone else. So
no,
we'll see. Okay. The last thing we need to talk about is Brett and Tiffany, because to me, Brett and Tiffany were like strong, sailing smooth. Like, we barely have even talked about them. He also is really pretty and has amazing skin. Like, he's so pretty. Yes. But anyway,
I'd marry him. Yeah, he's beautiful.
Him and Marshall. I like the way he supported her when she was upset, when she was afraid. Jeremy and I were just like, he was like, acknowledge and validate. And he's really good at acknowledging and validating. And he, like, you know, brought her in, and the friends were really sweet. And the way he publicly speaks about her so highly. Do you think, what is going on with Tiffany? Do you think she's going to like mess this up? Yeah,
I think that Tiffany has some unworthiness to be happy and to receive. Her container of, I think, self-love, it's still expanding and still growing. And Brett,
but she's 36. Come on. You're amazing. Open up the possibility that you could be enough.
So you're saying by 36, you should be ready to go?
Well, I just want her to. I mean, you know, like, I guess I think that it just makes me sad, right? Like, even though we're only seeing these people as characters on TV, right? However they're being edited.
Yeah.
I think she is being shown as a really strong, powerful woman, who's attractive and smart, and she communicates well. And I want it for her, you know, like, I get how she's feeling. Like, there's a lot of people that are at that part of their life where they want to have a family.
So Dr. Emily and I had a quick discussion about this. I think that the producers are just, I think that they purposely exhaust them, even though it's just it's, 1/10 as hard as is setting up the real marriage. But it sounds like every day they have something structured and or family or stressful to simulate some of the, the planning parts of marriage, for forging your rings, to figuring out getting dressed to venues and all these sort of things. I thought was really interesting. Did you notice her friends? I think it's kind of a tell. They mentioned in her last relationship that the last guy took from her. So I was like, whoa.
Oh, I missed that.
I rewound that. I was like, whoa. And she was like, yeah, no, like never again will like a guy take from you and like leave you empty or something like that. And I'm like, So she's going in with a little bit of that. And at least her friends still feel like that is, we just don't want to see that happen, sort of thing. I mean, like maybe they're not 1000%. She'll make sure that'll happen. So there's probably a little nervousness in her and in that. I think she is more emotional, but I do think it's just receiving a dude who seems to be so amazing and so awesome. It's just a little overwhelming for her. So I think hopefully it's an edit and those are mostly happy, normal, nervous tears coming out and not like, what the heck?
Yeah, they really.
I'm going to freak out as well. And so
I know. The edit was scaring me. A little teaser. I think like what is interesting about that is that like globally, if you look at like we're talking about Chelsea, like, she's got everything in order, right? Like she's great on paper, right? Same with Tiffany, same with Bliss, right? These seem like pretty grounded, great women. And I don't want their insecurity, to get in the way or sabotage. Now, granted, this is a weird situation, but even Bliss interpreting every little thing that Zach says as a reason why maybe he doesn't really love her. Like, oh, you said this. Does that mean that you really don't mean that, like kind of like.
He said, when I make a commitment, I don't back off. And she's like, whoa. Don't just, keep on driving through, which Dr. Emily had to explain that. As I missed that too. I said, well, why is she like looking for reasons? She's like, no, the concrete hasn't dried yet. They haven't gone down that. Like, bro, I get it. That's how you normally operate. That's very memorable and admirable. But she just wants to reaffirm, check in again. This is a big deal. I just met you. You said no to me. This is just let me know.
Yeah. I just want at some point she has to let the past go.
Yeah, for sure.
And start to like, repair. So I just don't want these women, like, you can start to see like why they maybe are single up until this point, right? Their insecurity or they're a train wreck or, they're so used to dating men that don't treat them well. When someone appears to be treating them well, it's like too much. Like, I don't want to be a member of a club that would have me, for Tiffany. And so I think the takeaway is like, looking at the patterns, right? Like we can see it, right? We're talking about these little, like the way they're leaking or their insecurities. And I really do hope that they've grown through this experience and we get like, that would be amazing if we did like a, 4 for 4, but
we got no knocks on the dudes, by the way, this season. This is a couple.
I really don't. I know it's a kind of amazing. I mean, I said I wished Kwame were more honest. I think Paul is just, lost in the sauce, but that's fine. I think he's sweet and romantic and thoughtful from what we're seeing. I think Zach is quirky and just being himself. And, I like that he took accountability for his mistake and that also he bailed on Irina. And I think Brett's showing up like a fucking boss. Like, I love him.
Marshall.
I don't have any criticisms. Okay. So so the finale is coming soon. If you're watching this behind, make sure you go back and watch like season 4 of Love is Blind. But who do you think is going to say yes? Who do you think is coming out of this married? What's your predictions?
Thinking the editing crew is just ripping us back and forth with Chelsea and Kwame. I kind of hope. Sorry, gals, if you are at Chelsea, but I think Kwame. And I think Kwame's not ready. I don't think Chelsea's ready yet. I think Chelsea needs to learn better listening skills. I think Kwame needs to learn to grab, grow balls, whatever you want to call it, speak up or find somebody who's a little more temperature better, vigilant and empathetic to that. So I think he's going to say no, and it's going to, I think, but God, I don't know. It's got editing's great. I think Tiffany, Brett, yes. I think, I do think that Micah and Paul, yes. And I think Zach and Bliss, yes. God, but you know what? Are we missing somebody?
That would be, so they've never had more yeses than no's.
I'm wrong already. I know I'm wrong already.
No, I know, but like the way that the way they're editing it, we're really rooting for these people. I think in the past, but every time I get excited, I think about Raven and
SK.
And I'm like, I got blindsided hard on that one. So I'm just preparing for my heart to be a little broken.
Also, our favorite thing is Dr. I love that Shane would still be married to Natalie had he just hit a baseball at his bachelor party in his whole brain. They would have been divorced already too, by the way. But yeah, it's crazy how you never know. They keep you to the very end.
Here's what's really, I have to say again, why this is like, I don't know if they didn't work as hard to get them wasted on the night before their wedding. Like the last season, they just all got hammered the night before their wedding, which who wants to do that? But these people were all like besides Micah, no one else, everyone else was sober. They were just, hanging out with their friends, having a good time, but everyone stayed in grown-up land except for Micah. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for binge watching. Maybe we can get Dr. Emily on next week to discuss the finale.
It's so good.
Yeah, we'll have our finale on this coming in a couple of days. So make sure if you would like to vote in the comments on YouTube about who you think is going to stay with whom or what's going to happen, please make sure you let us know. We'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts. Consultantchris.com. Make sure you check it out. You can also follow us on Instagram at Dating with Dignity. And I'm on TikTok every single day, sometimes more than once a day. Marni Batista pumping out the advice. And of course, for more, you can always go to datingwithdignity.com. Whatever you do, make sure you always life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.